Hello, this is OT Khaled. I will be going through the deck list right now. So, I am playing 50 cards rather than 60. Before I was playing more non-engine and also the Fiendsmith cards along with extra Elden copies of Elden and Swen. In this version, I decided to cut back on the Fiendsmith cards because I figured out the new combo, as you can see from my previous video, where I still make hiking without any Fiendsmith cards. So the reason why is because I feel like the Fiendsmith cards, as much as they are extremely good going first, I don't think they're good enough going second. The broken aspect of the Radiant Typhoon cards in Memento is the fact that they pair as engine and non-engine. Vision and Chant act as engine and non-engine, so in the worst case scenario, even if I don't have an Elden or a Swen, me being able to just go Vision, Search, Chant is good enough for me, personally, and it always works out. But the ratio for them two, them being a one-off each, I think it's way better this way. That's because you will always see, normally, an MST paired with a Radiant Typhoon name. You don't really want to see like two Eldens, two Swens, one Elden, one Swen, because you're playing multiple copies of them. Like, they're just like another form of extension. But the main idea is that you want to open like Chant, MST, Vision paired with an Elden or a Swen. And then that means you're able to combo. And then when you're going first, obviously, they are insane extenders, especially with cards like Anguish. Another key difference is that I wasn't playing Gone Wild in my previous list. I believe that Gone Wild is probably it was definitely correct for me to have played it before. I had tested it previously, prior to the regional I went to, but the lines were just way more different. So after the regional, I started exploring more with this card, and I started realizing more and more that the Fiendsmith cards weren't needed anymore. This card is not a brick, and it's a normal summon that basically just gets you to full combo Memento, but it also gets you to the hiking. It also comes up in I've made several videos already where um, I've where it's facilitated through like half boards, where you have a Gobonga on your field, but you don't go through like all your Memento stuff, obviously, because you're under cards like Fua, and then you go Memento Fusion into Baphomet on your opponent's turn, send Gone Wild, and then Gone Wild triggers. Also scenarios where you don't use Breakout within your combo because you're under Fua and you don't want to give more draws. However, you break out, summon the Gone Wild, then you can droplet sack it when you have Gobonga on the field, stuff like that. Because like in this deck, in like the combo videos you'll be seeing, there's a lot of combos where you're ending on Gobonga, even in like half boards, because whether it's through extension, and he naturally just gives you so many extra interruptions. So that's a really cool aspect. I'm playing 20 non-engine technically, because it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20. But the beautiful part about this deck is that like these cards also pair as engine and non-engine, and then these cards are just broken non-engine that can facilitate helping my going first, going even better. There's also like random synergy, like if you started with if you have like Elden, MST, Fusion, and like a name, summon Elden, Imperm, you're able to do stuff like set Memento Fusion, MST pop, and then banish Fusion, pop search, party pop, full combo from there. So that's like a really cool like random stuff, like MST coming up, same as Fall on the Virtuous. If you start with Zebra, it gets hand trapped, you normal summon Goblin, normal summon Darkblade, Mace, doesn't really matter. Your opponent goes Vela, you can go FNV, pop it, then the monster still resolves, popping the Zebra, and then you resolve that effect, and you keep comboing from there. And also, Fall on the Virtuous is just an insane card. So it manages to fit inside the extra deck, which I'll go through later. But the main principle is that these are the cards that I thought were just the best. I have 9 ways to dodge Flame, which is Droplet, Fall on the Virtuous, and MST. And also these ways if they don't hit the MST, I guess. And then all the other cards that I'm playing are just standard Memento cards. The 15 Memento names, the 10 Memento spells, including Biker spell. Just like one little thing to put out there. These 9 cards can never be played at any lower ratio, in my opinion. This card, like all three of them, are just hard carries for the deck. Like these are the reasons to play the deck, because you invalidate hand traps. Your pushes are so much more explosive. Like nothing in this. If you have Darkblade plus Zebra, if I go normal summon Darkblade effect and my opponent Veilers it, and then I summon Zebra, that will never be better than me going normal summon Darkblade effect. My opponent Veilers it, and I chain Bone Party, and then I literally just play through an additional hand trap on top. Like, so for example, if even if they were to like Veiler me on like the next chain link on like the card I summon off the Darkblade, then the Bone Party that pops the Sleepy because you summon Darkblade effect, they Veiler it, you Bone Party pop summon Sleepy, Darkblade resolves popping Anguish, popping Sleepy summoning Anguish. Now that means even if your opponent Veilers the Anguish there, like on the new chain link, you just go effect of Sleepy, dump Gaik, reborn, add back Sleepy, make King send free, and you just full combo them anyway. So like, this is the broke. Like this card cannot be understated because some people have been playing it at 2, and I just felt the need to bring it up. And even this card is just insane. I'll go through siding patterns in a later video because it's quite a lot. The only thing that's rather easy is when you're going first, you just take out the 2 MSTs and you put the 2 grand entrances in. And as you can see, like the deck is so insane when you're going first because you're able to play. Technically, I'm only playing 12 bad cards when I'm going first. Sorry, like these cards are not really like they're good to open. Obviously, they're just good non-engine. Maybe I want to open like 1 or 2, but overall, like majority of the deck is just all engine and gas, all ways to keep me from playing, to keep me playing these 2 cards, which just searches a starter. This can potentially hit a starter, and this card is just so insane because the deck plays so many quick play spells. I believe the only spells that aren't quick play are just free, so technically I'm playing 28 quick plays. So you just have infinite amount of cards to draw off this vision and be able to pitch for free. This deck abuses this card so well. And also with like Memento Fusion, right? And then, yeah, I think, yeah, but like, and when you're going, so that means you're only playing 12 cards that don't really support your going first. But on top of that, post side, you're only playing 10, which means everything, you're only playing 10 cards out of 50, which don't really do anything to support your combo, even though they technically do in some cases. This can, and this can. The only one that can't, that technically does absolutely nothing, is Crown. But outside that, like, for me personally, like, it just means that when I go first, I just absolutely win. But the thing is, like, this is the non-engine that I want to see. Like, before I was playing like 53 and I had like Evenly here or a double Cyclone. But what I realize is that rather than playing like just an excess amount, these are like the cards I just want to see, and the deck just feels so much cleaner. I've been having a lot better consistency. I've been seeing like the cards I want to see more than anything. My hands have been crazy. Like this deck's been performing so well into Dragon Tail and Radiant Typhoon. And then when you're playing against like Dragon Tail, Radiant Typhoon, for example, you play 3 double Cycler, Lightning Storm, Harpies. These are the 7 cards that you're putting in. You take out 7 pieces of engine. You do not cut any of the non-engine. 99% of the time, not a single one of these cards is cut because they're just that broken. Like maybe like Charm or something, but we'll get into that in another video. And then these cards are specifically for just every other deck. So if you play against Rogue, if you play against K9 Crystron, VS, well that's not really Rogue, but you get what I mean. Also into K9 decks, obviously you have the 2 grand entrances. I just don't believe like Memento needs anything more, and in this version, you're playing such a high level of consistency that you're always resolving combo. You do not need more going first cards. Your whole deck is basically everything just pairs so well together that you will always get to combo, and the moment you get to combo in Memento, you've won the duel. Like there doesn't need to be like nothing fancy has to resolve. If you just finish, like just do some sort of setup, not even combined, you can win that duel. Dark Ruler and Santa Claus. So Dark Ruler checks Diabell pretty well because you set it, and then your opponent has to basically just assume that you're bluffing because you're trying to bait the Diabell pop. And then you can just flip Dark Ruler, it hits Chrysia, it hits Invader of Darkness, it hits Christian Invader Darkness, and one more. And potentially can hit Diver. But the only problem is this card does not work into Spell Canceller. I don't think K9 Christian is that popular right now, so I think that's like a doable thing. Not just that, Dark Ruler is really, really good into decks like Yummy, into what's that deck called? White Forest, and then Santa Claus covers the other side of the floodgates. Also, like Dark Ruler is really, really good into Lunar Light, by the way, because you can like beat Baguska and thing without having to worry about Werewolf because they can't respond to monster effects. And even if you and here's the thing, even it kind of sucks into their deck because if they negate it, you just waste your battle phase, and that means you just lose to the Ligers no matter what. But with Dark Ruler, like you get to beat all the excess crap, all the excess stuff, and all you have to deal with is just the Silverhound and the Ligers. And like Liger Dancer with like Geonator is actually nothing. I'll show some videos about like some cool like different tech options for like different decks, like especially Geonator, because I thought of a combo where I can out both Liger Dancers if they use one of the Liger Dancers, or I can actually OTK you if you play into the Geonator zone. If you play into the Geonator zone with either of the Ligers, I can kill you. Not as in I beat your Ligers, I'm gonna attack you directly, and none of the Ligers gonna be able to do anything. Well, I'll get into that another time. Santa Claus is also for it hits everything but Crisio, but then the nice merit is that you can hit Crisio with cards like Dark Ruler, Droplet, Crown, FNV. So like you're normally chilling in regards to that. But like you need to play these cards because like I was considering playing Fua, Perulio. I even tested it again recently. Fua and Perulio are not needed to beat Radiant Typhoon or Detail. You just always beat their board anyway. It's just never felt like it's some sort of mandatory thing for me. But then another point is that Dark Ruler and Santa, even though you could say that Fua, Perulio, these cards are mandatory against those uber combo decks. The thing is, we're playing 50. You can't realistically open the Perulio and the Fua, and even though that's like you could view that as a downside. The thing is that I view it as this is just what the deck is supposed to be like right now, because even though Perulio and Fua are nice, I just don't like envisioning my whole game plan on my Fua resolving, on my Perulio resolving. The amount of games where I've watched people just activate Fua, it gets ashed, and then your opponent has traded your non-engine for their non-engine, but now they just have all their engine in their hand, they just start comboing you. If you open Fua or Fua Perulio, if anyone could do that, obviously their deck's the best in the room, but not every deck can. And the thing is, even if you play this deck at 40, it's not necessarily a guarantee. Your opponent can do those types of stuff, but the amount of times someone has had an Ashen Distill in their hand, they resolve their combo. Because I have 6 live cards in my hand, I ball break their board, and because this deck is so uber, like, it has so much engine, your opponent trades, like, the Ash Blossom for one piece of engine, but the deck doesn't die to a singular Ash. I can use my ball breakers to play through their board, and because Memento is just so explosive in terms of its pushes, your opponent has to respect every card from resolving. Like VS K9 is a free matchup too. Grand Entrance just FTKs the whole board. One Grand Entrance beats Masquerade, Ripper, and puts a star on the field, which they have to seize a pop because or they have to seize a pop or Holy Sue Steel because all Mad Love bounce. And those are their only 3 options. And before someone says, oh, but there's quite a lot of options, right? That means they have to like give up on the Raz and summon. And remember, this is just one Grand Entrance. And even in a scenario where, for example, they tried to like rank up spell after I detach with the Masquerade, or hell, if they use the Ash, I Grand Entrance detach and get rid of the Masquerade or the Ripper, whichever one I feel like I don't want to play into. Like, Grand Entrance is just an egregious card into K9 decks, and I feel like people have been playing like K9 decks a bit more recently, especially with like VS, and this deck is such a good pick. You don't even need to open that much non-engine into that deck. Like, Memento plays so well into it. Obviously, Shifter, that's a problem, but as you can see, like, people play D-Fissure and stuff like that. Cards like Lightning Storm, Harpies, Cosmic, all clears that. And naturally, you really play like, just to let you know, with the Radiant Typhoon cards, you can actually play under like Shifter and that type of stuff. Recently, and even at YCS Dortmund, I played through I beat a Mitsu player who resolved full combo underneath shifter, and another Mitsu player recently. I believe it was at locals. But yeah, and this was all on the shifter. It's just like because they can't really establish that much crazy advantage. I just MST'd all his back row, summoned Elden, summoned Swen, and then well, I believe I had like FNV plus Crown, and then I thought I didn't fall on the Virtuous in that turn, but I basically just set up so I had good setup for next turn. All I had to do was live, and I was able to do that, and I won the duel. Anyway, going into the extra deck. So it's the Jin. There is no Requiem because I'm not playing Fiendsmith cards. So I just make the Jin into sequence and I summon Berthamer, as you probably saw from the comment video before this. Gobonga is amazing. With this, it's 5 interruptions. G8 is for protection. SP is so you can banish King if you open field spell. Cross Sheep's just mandatory. This is the form the Virtuous package. You do not need more than this. This is the only questionable card. But the whole point is that in a lot of lines it does come up. This could be potentially like Proxy F or something, but after testing both, I feel like this card is probably a bit more correct. Berthamer, as always, just the best card. Dragostapelia, this card is just infinitely better than Guardian Chimera. When your opponent lightning storms you and you go Chain Fusion, Chain Party, and like normally this happens at fewer lines, and then you have the King still on the field, and then you just fusion off the King, summon the Dragostapelia, fields kick King, combined Reborn King, and now you just have like all your interrupts ready and waiting for you, without even like having to commit. Like, because if you summon Guardian Chimera there, your opponent doesn't have any cards on field, so you don't get the draw. You don't get the value of the Memento fusion. But with Dragostapelia, you always get the value. Not just that, there's too many pops in Memento, so having a variety and having like Dragostapelia being a different form of interrupt is extremely valuable. And then for the Memento fusions, obviously that's just standard. But yeah, I just wanted to explain my thoughts for the deck, explain a bit of the theory. I truly believe that this is probably the best way to play this version of it. I've seen lists where they try to play less of a deck count. I don't think you need to think about deck count as much. It's more about what's like correct for the deck. And in my opinion, just this version has been like overperforming. It's been doing just amazing. Like everything is like what I want it to be, all the correct cards, and not just that, I got the deck down to 50. Like I'm really happy about that because like the deck has felt so much more consistent and so much more like not consistent as in just seeing non-engine, but also seeing non-engine. Like seeing a good mix. Like none of my hands have felt bad. So yeah, I think this is a really, really strong way to play Memento. And yeah, I'll be going to UK Open with this list, so I hope I do well, and hope I see some of you there. Have a lovely day, signing off. And yeah, if you have any questions, just write them down in the comments and I'll let you know. I'll explain everything. Have a lovely day. Bye.